tag team champs of two companies being in the same group potentially, the Bullet Club. I don't know how that's working out right now. Certainly a weird vibe going around the Bullet Club with, you know, Don Callis trying to push the Young Bucks away and Kenny
Right.
being mad at them. And now this, like, it was definitely an interesting segment. But you get to see the tag team champions of Impact and AEW on the same crew. And although we're big dark, you know, this is still January. So this is still Join Dark Order January. Throw it up.
I will. It is, and it's still time to recruit, and we are definitely recruiting in still full mode. So we still got the rest of the week so to recruit for more people to join Dark Order. You know, I'll dive right into this. You know, what I really liked about this was that, I mean, yeah, there's some very heavy turmoil going on with the Young Bucks and Don and Kenny. So there's a lot of stuff going on with that. And I really like how they did this again, where they do straight to promo, straight to entrance. I think that's kind of a cool, uh, you know, behind the curtain type of thing, how they did that. But, you know, I don't know if you caught it, but you had Young Bucks coming out the babyface tunnel and the Good Brothers coming out the heel tunnel. And so there's a little bit of that. And what I thought was also great that the announcers were pointing out how that the Dark Order is essentially the home team for AEW. And they talked about a year ago from now how they would have never thought this. You know, they were not thinking of this. You know, the growth of the Dark Order is one that has been, you know, all Brody Lee aside and everything. Unfortunately, what happened that, you know, they are growing naturally, organically as individuals, as tag teams, as a group. I mean, you look at these 8 individuals right here. They were outstanding. The chemistry with them, you could see the chemistry with all 4 of these guys in the ring. You know, whether it be obviously John Silver and Alex Reynolds being the recruitment special team, and Uno and Stu being a team, but those they kept flip flopping with awesome tandem moves,
Yeah.
and it was a lot of fun to watch. This match was had it all. It was so high paced. It was sometimes hard to follow,
Mm-hmm.
and everything about it was great. I loved it, and it was a perfect way to close out the show.
Well, you know, we talked about this too, SPD. You mentioned the Dark Order being the home team and how unexpected that is. I mean, we were planning to join Dark Order January here at Dynamite Download
Yeah.
before the unfortunate and untimely passing of Brody, and so much of that was because we truly believe that the Dark Order. I mean, I'll say it myself. Um, I am a perfect example of someone that did a complete 180 on that group, and the main reason why is because of the work that those guys put in.
Hmm.
Like the BTE stuff that they did, it needs to be recognized. I mean, though, like the character work that they've done. John Silver is now, to me, one of the undeniable superstars of AEW. I mean, like, and you think about how far that group has come from being like this weird cult, like of losers, right? Like to now being these
Main
like
eventers.
main eventers. I mean, they're hilarious. They're no longer like these bad guys that you're rooting against. They're actually quite the opposite. They're this group of like people that you want to hang out with. I mean,
For sure.
we've seen the personalities. You know, 10 is so active on social, and he really basically gives everybody an interview once a week at least with his Q&As. You know, there's so much to like about this team outside of the ring. And then when you see them get in the ring, SPD, you know, I'll let you jump in on this, but you've talked about it. The Dark Order has 3 real tag teams that you're very impressed by.
I
And,
am.
and the chemistry that the recruitment specialists show is one thing, but like you've told me many times how impressed you are with Evil Uno and Stu Grayson as a tandem.
I definitely am. And, you know, that says a lot because the Young Bucks to me can never put on a bad match. And I'm very, very high on the Young Bucks, and they're the champs for the reason. That being said, you know, anytime I see Evil Uno and Stu Grayson, I mean, they were at the top of the tag team ranks for a reason, and they're very underrated, underappreciated. Their chemistry and in-ring work. I mean, you just saw Stu tonight bouncing off the ropes, and he was like bouncing, springboard, bouncing, bouncing, and then he does this humongous frog splash. And the power that he has, he's a strong guy. And Evil Uno, you know, doesn't necessarily fit a typical wrestler build, but the stuff he can do and the tandem work and stuff was very impressive. And
Yep.
of course, my boy John Silver, who I absolutely love, put on a star performance, in my opinion, just not backing down from
Calling him out.
I know, big Gallows, and then he went on an absolute tear. He hit all four guys. He did the cannonball. It was a Bullet Club obstacle course. That's what the announcers are saying for it. It was nonstop action with that. And Johnny was hungry, and he was, trying to get fed all match. And this was a very well paced match. It was, all over the place as expected with a Young Bucks
A lot
style.
of action.
Eight guys in a ring is a lot to handle. It was never slow. It was well paced. It was a great finish, and a lot of great false finishes. That 3-way power bomb on the apron was brutal, and oh man! And then the 4-way super kick just to end it was just, oh man, that of the match for sure. Elite for me, this Dynamite I was really looking forward to overall, and so sometimes I'm a little bit harder critic on certain things, but it was an elite across the board
You
for a
loved this
show.
show. You
So
loved
I
this
did love
show.
this show.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
awesome,
how
man.
could you not when you start with the Murder Hawk Monster and Eddie Kingston, and you
What a
end with the
start.
Dark Order and Young Bucks? And
Yep.
so, I mean, it's an elite sandwich.
Well, SPD, I gotta say, brother, you and I have talked about before this week's episode how on BTE the Good Brothers,
Yeah,
and how easy they are to dislike. There's such a great contrast to the Dark Order, who are these lovable, funny good guys. The Good Brothers quite enjoy being like detestable jerks. Like they love just beating people up. They're very like kind of like old school in that regard. It's a great natural pairing of those, of like different dichotomies of life in that regard. Like just I liked it. I thought that this is not as this one's not as emphatic of an elite for me, only because I'm still coming around to the Good Brothers a little bit. I'm going to be honest. I've seen their work long before AEW and Impact. I've seen it. I know what they can do. I know what they're capable of. Everybody's got their own cup of tea when it comes to tag teams or wrestlers in general, right? Where you're allowed to have your opinion, and not everybody's going to be your favorite. The Good Brothers I'm still trying to figure out where they fit into all this. And I was thrown off as a fan who's invested very much into it. I was thrown off a little bit as to like the Young Bucks and the Good Brothers just all of a sudden getting along, and
I thought there'd be more
tension.
Right, and maybe like an accidental super kick or something like that.
Exactly. I was actually expecting that. I know that you got a team of 2 tag teams champions on one side. I could have seen a potential upset, a feel good moment at the end, like because of the dissension, right? Like I was almost expecting like a super kick, kind of like, and then you plant that seed of them fighting the Good Brother, all that stuff, right? So as a fan who's really much invested, I was a little conflicted on that because there was really no moment during this match where you felt like, man, these guys might these 2 teams might come to blows with each other. After what we saw last week with the Young Bucks kind of being bodied out of Kenny Omega's inner circle, I was expecting a little bit more out of that. So that's my one criticism of the match. I was from a storyline perspective and somebody who loves psychology in a match, it didn't really fit that for me as much as I was hoping for but that said, if I'm looking at the overall experience, just like the fun that we got to see in the ring, man, like I don't know how you could ask for more action than that. I mean,
you really can't.
It was just every moment you're seeing somebody getting knocked to the outside. You just constant back and forth.
Yeah.
And again, the Dark Order shows an ability to do tandem offense like that. It's just awesome to watch. It's fun to see them in action. At the end of this match, I'll give an elite. But I'm a little softer
giving us suspense there.
A little soft elite from Crayfish.
No
on
way,
this
man.
one.
With Johnny being so hungry, that's an elite for me alone.
I love the Dark Order.
Yeah.
I've come around full circle, like full circle on them. Like
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of them now. But
But what I want to say is, like, it kind of was interesting how Young Bucks are going to be in their own battle royal for the number one contenders, and they laid that groundwork. I don't feel like they would lay that groundwork if they weren't going to win and pick their opponents. So that just tells me maybe they're going to pick the Good Brothers to face at Revolution. Kind of who's the top of the top. So
it
if
would.
they do go that way, where the Young Bucks do win the battle royal and they pick their partners, I think they'll pick the either the Good Brothers to kind of further this, or if they want to really lean into the heel, they'll pick like a squash match just for
Maybe
fun or
Joey
something.
Janela and Sonny Kiss.
Yeah, I don't know what
You
they're gonna
know,
do. So,
maybe something like that.
but
But
yeah, the post match stuff, yeah, was amazing. I loved it. When Ray Phoenix came out, I think he got about 50 feet in the air off those ropes, and then the double kick. Oh, it was so great.
my favorite moment of the post match was the paradigm shift to
Oh,
Kenny Omega,
and
dude.
the
Like
cell. He was
the cell. Yes, I know that I'm not the only one who is like, that's the best sell of a paradigm shift I've ever seen, dude. Kenny was like literally straight,
I
like
know.
vertical, and then he looked dead after he took it. He was just like, he was done. That was phenomenal. Post match certainly gets us hyped for Beach Break. Um, I think that stipulation is interesting. And like you said, it plants a seed for, do the Young Bucks win? Do they come out on top of this battle royal?
Right.
I'm personally hoping no. I would love to see
Right. A
a,
new
a
team.
different team come out. But obviously, this war of Impact versus AEW that we're seeing, and obviously the dissension in the Bullet Club, it's naturally a great story if they end up going that route. The best of the best going against
Yeah.
each other. It would be a very fascinating matchup.